Welcome to 11 Recaps. If you enjoy this summary, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps me keep bringing you engaging content. Ready for your support? Awesome, thank you. Let's dive in. The narrative begins with Yuki Mifune, an exceptionally skilled assassin with strong ties to the Yakuza, observing a live news report. The segment centers on Bruno Diaz, a foreign diplomat in Washington, D.C. to negotiate a significant trade agreement between the United States and Costa Verde. Just as Diaz approaches the podium to deliver his speech, Mifune executes him with a precise shot to the head. Panic ensues as the audience erupts into chaos, allowing Mifune to discreetly escape, having completed her mission. Concurrently, Agent John Franklin is engaged in a discussion with the Secretary of State when Agent Juliet Clover interrupts with critical information. They have pinpointed a key suspect in the assassination, Brandon Beckett. Flight records indicate that Beckett traveled to and from Costa Verde shortly before the incident. Without delay, Franklin instructs Agent Sarah Peterson to dispatch a team to apprehend Beckett at his residence. Unbeknownst to him, Beckett is at home, engrossed in a video game, relishing his first vacation in 5 years. Suddenly, the sound of a helicopter reverberates through the air, followed by a tremendous explosion at his front door. Before he can respond, armed agents storm in and take him into custody. Meanwhile, Mifune learns of Beckett's arrest occurring close to her location. Her initial directive was to eliminate him and stage it as a suicide, but that plan is now unfeasible. The alternative strategy? To ambush the convoy transporting him to a detention facility. At a CIA safe house, Franklin interrogates Beckett, who vehemently denies any connection to the assassination. However, Franklin remains skeptical. Evidence places Beckett at the crime scene. DNA links him to the act, and he possesses a possible motive. To complicate matters further, Franklin harbors suspicions that Beckett's father, Thomas Beckett, may also be implicated. Beckett continues to deny any wrongdoing. Their discussion is interrupted by Homeland Security agent Zeke Rosenberg, who requests a private conversation with Beckett. Rosenberg informs him that he will concentrate solely on concrete evidence and cautions that if Beckett is found guilty, he will be sent to a classified black site. There will be no trial or opportunity for appeal, just a one-way journey with severe repercussions. Despite the mounting pressure, Beckett insists on his innocence. As Franklin re-enters the room, he instructs the team to relocate Beckett. Simultaneously, a Russian mobster, contracted to orchestrate an attack on the transport vehicle, is finalizing payment over the phone. Once the arrangement is confirmed, his crew readies for the assault. Rosenberg pulls Clover aside, seeking further information regarding the evidence against Beckett. She admits that she was the one who discovered it, but Rosenberg suggests that there is someone who doubts the official narrative. She then presents him with a video of the assassination, detailing how they pinpointed the sniper's location, which was over a mile away. Only an individual with Beckett's expertise could have executed such a shot. Rosenberg examines the footage more closely and observes something unusual. Donald South, the CEO of Novacell Pharmaceuticals, is present in the crowd when he should not be. Meanwhile, Beckett is being transported under tight security, yet he senses that something is amiss. He alerts the officers in the vehicle, but they dismiss his concerns. Moments later, a truck obstructs their route while another vehicle approaches from behind. The driver attempts to flee, but the truck collides with them. Before anyone can respond, gunfire erupts from the pursuing car. The officers in the vehicle are struck and killed instantly. Amid the turmoil, Beckett seizes the opportunity. He grabs a key to his handcuffs and swiftly frees himself. Armed with 2 handguns from the deceased officers, he takes cover and readies himself for the impending confrontation. He successfully neutralizes one assailant and injures another. From a distance, Mifune watches the entire situation unfold. As Beckett leaps into a car to flee, she prepares to take her shot but ultimately misses. He accelerates away, leaving Mifune with no option but to eliminate the wounded Russian before disappearing into the darkness. Meanwhile, in California, Rosenberg locates Donald South, who is dining with a woman who is certainly not his spouse. Rosenberg nonchalantly interrupts their dinner and takes the woman's seat after she departs. He directly questions South about his presence at the assassination site. South asserts his support for lifting the trade embargo and elaborates that his company is on the brink of being acquired by Ficus Industries. He advises Rosenberg to follow the financial trail, suggesting that those who stand to lose billions from the trade deal would have the strongest motive to obstruct it. At headquarters, Peterson briefs Franklin on the failed transport operation. She reports that Beckett was ambushed by Russian mercenaries, resulting in the death of one of their agents at the hands of a sniper. Franklin immediately suspects that Thomas Beckett may be involved in efforts to protect his son. He instructs his team to locate both individuals. They swiftly identify the vehicle Beckett used to escape, but he has already vanished. Now a fugitive, Beckett encounters two police officers who attempt to apprehend him. Realizing he cannot afford to be captured, he subdues them and makes a hasty escape. He commandeers a car and insists that the driver take him to a secure location. Back in California, Rosenberg confides in Clover, expressing his concern that there may be a mole within their organization leaking information. How else could the ambush on Beckett's transport have been executed with such precision? He is aware that Franklin is determined to establish Beckett's culpability, complicating the search for the truth. When he inquires about any potential issues concerning Ficus Industries, Clover informs him of a recent security breach. An accountant named Josh Strayhorn attempted to access a restricted area at Ficus, inadvertently triggering an alarm. Although the police responded, security personnel denied them entry. Sensing a potential lead, Rosenberg requests Strayhorn's whereabouts and promptly travels to Vancouver to locate him. Upon his arrival, he meets Drake Phoenix, the head of security at Ficus. Phoenix downplays the incident, characterizing it as a mere misunderstanding. He explains that Strayhorn had consumed too much alcohol and inadvertently wandered into a restricted area, setting off the alarm by mistake. Meanwhile, Beckett abandons his stolen vehicle in a parking lot and discreetly enters the back of a cargo truck to evade detection. He ultimately meets his father in a remote location, where he reveals that he has been framed. In his quest to exonerate himself, Beckett must uncover the identity of those orchestrating the setup. As Rosenberg investigates Phoenix's background, he is astonished to discover that there is no official record of him, as if he were non-existent. Franklin learns of Clover's conversation with Rosenberg regarding Ficus and emphasizes the urgency of locating Beckett. After Franklin departs, Clover swiftly provides Rosenberg with the name and hospital information of the only surviving Russian. Rosenberg makes his way to the hospital, but is obstructed by a security guard. Displaying his badge grants him access. The doctor cautions him that the Russian has just come out of surgery, but Rosenberg insists on waking him, as he is a crucial suspect in an assassination case. When the Russian regains consciousness, Rosenberg presses him for information about who contracted him. Initially resistant, the suspect eventually succumbs to pressure when Rosenberg applies force to his recent wound. It has come to light that the employer utilized a voice modulation device and fabricated background sounds to create the illusion of a nearby helicopter. Meanwhile, Franklin's team is thoroughly searching Beckett's residence for any evidence. During this search, Peterson discovers a birthday card from Beckett's father that includes specific coordinates. Rather than delay, they set off to investigate the location, leaving Rosenberg behind. While examining the house, Rosenberg notices an old photograph of Beckett with his military unit. He captures an image of it and sends it to Clover, who identifies one of the individuals as Drake Phoenix, also known as Clark McConnell. Officially, McConnell was reported dead for 5 years, but this was evidently false. Rosenberg manages to locate Strayhorn, who is initially reluctant to provide information. However, the situation changes when a gun is pointed at him. He confesses that Phoenix had threatened his family, compelling him to cooperate. He reveals that if the trade agreement failed, Novacell's stock would plummet, giving them a strategic advantage. Additionally, he was caught attempting to establish an offshore account when the alarm was triggered. All of this was orchestrated under Phoenix's directives. Meanwhile, in the wilderness, Beckett and his father notice armed individuals approaching. Beckett's father hands him a rifle and instructs him to head towards a tunnel. As the adversaries draw near, Franklin receives a call from Rosenberg, who insists he now possesses sufficient evidence to exonerate Beckett. Franklin hesitantly decides to call off the operation, but before they can stand down, gunfire erupts, decimating Franklin's team. Beckett, having reached safety, hears the gunfire and rushes back to his father's cabin. His father prepares himself, and they both survey the surroundings, unaware that they are being observed. Instead of taking a shot, their observer creates a diversion and escapes. Determined to capture their target alive, Beckett, and his father pursue the individual. When they finally catch up, they discover that their pursuer is a woman named Mifune, contrary to their assumption that they were dealing with a man. A confrontation ensues between Beckett and Mifune. She possesses exceptional combat abilities, and Beckett finds it challenging to keep pace with her. At one moment, she has him subdued and reaches for her firearm to eliminate him, but his father stealthily approaches from behind, aiming his rifle at her. With no means of escape, she capitulates. Simultaneously, in Vancouver, Rosenberg investigates Phoenix's assets and discovers incriminating evidence, including tickets to a remote island. He bribes a boat operator to transport him there. During an earlier interrogation of an injured Russian, the individual had mentioned hearing background noise from a helicopter, which corresponds with the island's helipad. Franklin receives a call from Beckett, who confirms that they have Mifune in custody and she is prepared to cooperate. Franklin advises him to remain in place as backup is en route. Clover, delving further into Mifune's history, begins to link her to Diaz. It becomes evident that Mifune was present in Costa Verde on the day of the assassination, and the entire scheme to frame an American for Diaz's murder was designed to sabotage the trade agreement. This would cause Novocel's stock to plummet, enriching Phoenix and his associates. With Mifune on her way to a maximum security prison, Beckett proposes a strategy. He suggests allowing Phoenix to believe that she has successfully killed him. He suspects that Phoenix orchestrated this setup as retribution for a past betrayal. During their military service, Beckett had reported Phoenix to their commanding officer after witnessing him murder an innocent woman during a mission. Mifune reaches out to Phoenix, asserting that she has captured Beckett. Phoenix provides her with a location for their meeting. Meanwhile, Franklin outlines the plan, and Beckett's father volunteers to serve as the sniper. On the island, Rosenberg stealthily enters a house and unexpectedly discovers a family portrait featuring Donald South, which takes him by surprise. Before he can respond, Phoenix ambushes him. A struggle ensues, resulting in Rosenberg being bound to a chair. South ultimately reveals his true intentions, confessing that he is being forced out of his own company following the merger, and that Phoenix orchestrated the plot against Beckett. Mifune delivers Beckett to Phoenix, while the rest of the team remains concealed, prepared to intervene if necessary. Before the handover, Mifune discloses that she was initially contracted to eliminate Phoenix's brother, but an unfortunate incident resulted in the death of his nephew instead. Upon entering, Phoenix swiftly shoots Mifune, betraying her trust. Beckett retaliates, but Phoenix gains the upper hand and takes him captive, demanding a helicopter and $10 million, threatening to execute Beckett if his demands are not met. Beckett's father, positioned for a clear shot, hesitates, burdened by a previous error. As the situation escalates, Beckett reassures his father, expressing confidence in his abilities. That reassurance is all his father needs. With one precise shot, Phoenix is killed. In the meantime, South attempts to escape, but Mifune, barely clinging to life, halts him. The film concludes with Beckett and his father finally reuniting. His father acknowledges that it was one of the most challenging shots he has ever taken. They embrace in a long overdue hug and decide to celebrate with a couple of cold beers.